What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got the weekly reset for Destiny 2 for the 18th of March, and we're now into Act 2 of Heresy, so the content there will continue this week. We also have the continuation of Guardian Games of course, but Bungie do drop a patch today, so as always we'll break down the patch notes, some of the things we've heard about before, others of course are new via those updates, so we'll round that up, as well as talking about key rewards and featured activities for the week. Plus we've got the Eververse inventory, featured vendor loot, the Nightfall weapon, and a handful of other things to round up today. So if you guys enjoy the video and find it useful, do us a huge favor and get subscribed to the channel. That really supports me here on YouTube, but otherwise, cheers for watching and let's get into it. So first up today, of course, Act 2 continues, so there will be new Heresy story steps initially. Hopefully that'll lead us to some juicy story content in general. It also may unlock extra things for the week, like another Barrow Dyad catalyst. I believe Bungie had said that we'd get 2 of them for the second act, so if there's any news on that, I will keep you posted. Otherwise, we kind of continue as we are for the moment. Guardian Games, of course, continues as well, so if you're looking to pick up weapons, complete triumphs, generally score, or of course, get cosmetic items, then we have the remainder of this week and next in order to do that. Otherwise, good luck on newer exotic drops, things like Penality's Augur from Sundered Doctrine if you're still after it this week, and otherwise we'll touch on featured activities in a couple of moments. Up next though, we have some patch notes for the update today. Of course, the maintenance did run a bit longer than it was supposed to. No surprises there, really, but this is update 8251, and in terms of the patch changes today, for competitive, for points gains and losses, they've increased the granularity of the performance bonus portion of the rank rewards. This will allow the performance bonus to grant additional positive points more often. On top of that, they've increased the maximum amount of the performance bonus that can be granted from plus 10 to plus 20, and the maximum amount of the contribution scalar from plus 50 to plus 60. So hopefully that'll be a bit better. Then in terms of matchmaking, they fixed an issue where Smurf protection could erroneously be applied to players who'd been highly ranked in previous seasons, but placed lower than expected this season, and this was increasing the effective rank that these players were matching in, leading to reports of lower ranked players matching against players at higher ranks. Then for Trials of Osiris, they fixed an issue where the double loot modifier was being applied twice for post-game adept weapon drops, so goodbye to that one. But onto Sundered Doctrine, they fixed a problem where the final boss could be defeated using pressure doors, and basically it was being squeezed to death by those doors, so no longer a thing. And they fixed an issue where alternate characters that completed the quest could not collect the class items, so alternate characters with no focus set can collect the class item from the focus chest, and those with a focus set will need to set it to the class item in order to collect it from the focus chest, so good to see that one finally get a fix. By episode Heresy though, in the Court of Blades, they fixed an issue where the Ritual of Greed armament pickups could be acquired by another player who had also purchased the armament, so that's a good change in itself, but no further updates regarding rewards, which is a bit of a topic of conversation at the moment. Otherwise, for weapons, they've updated Temptation's Hook to match damage profiles of other modern caster frame swords. That's good. Then for exotic weapons and Slayer's Fang, they fixed the problem where Slayer's Fang would stun Overload champions, but didn't stop their constant health regen. And for Barrow Dyad, an issue where it couldn't be crafted if the player had unlocked the 4th intrinsic. So that has been affecting a few folks. Hopefully everyone will be able to craft it as intended now. For weapon perks, they fixed an issue where weapons with the subjugation origin trait would not exhaust boss, mini-boss, and champion combatants. And of course one where explosive payloads damage was not being scaled correctly by some perks like Magnificent Howl and Master of Arms. Finally though, for the artifact, they fixed a problem with piercing sidearms, not working on some types of shields, and in general, the Winged Victory holochip has been renamed to Taking Flight, as not to be confused with the new ship of the same name. Otherwise, they fixed a problem where the Triumphant Ornament required Season Pass ownership to purchase, and one where Taking Flight holochip's tooltip would not indicate that it was previously purchased. So there we go, those are the patch notes for today, and let us know any of your thoughts on them in the comment section. Before we get into more gameplay stuff for the week, obviously, with some of the server weirdness, Destiny Bulletin have just posted. I'm not actually in the game at the moment, but Bungie accidentally released the SUNLESS Cell Strike as a Grandmaster Nightfall. That's another piece of Act 3 content that we shouldn't be getting for at least a couple more weeks, much like the Ride of the Nine last week. It showed up early. Obviously, not something players will be able to take advantage of for very long, But yeah, some weirdness right there. Next up though, let's get onto the Eververse store for the week. Kind of doing it a little bit different right here because a weird thing has happened with the Bungie update today, where basically the update hasn't dropped at reset, so Bungie are doing some more maintenance, but the weekly reset itself has actually happened. So we can see the full inventory for Eververse this week on DIM. I may as well cover it this way, otherwise I'm waiting, an hour to do nothing, more or less. So let's take a look at the Bright Dust items via DIM right here. We do have the Reigning Champion exotic emote available this week for 3,250 Bright Dust. Of course, a Guardian Games item. Many of them still are. We have 2 weeks left of the event. We also have the Power Nap multiplayer emote up for grabs this week for 1,250 Bright Dust. And then we've got transmit effects, so there is the Stalwart Sigil available for 450 Bright Dust. And for shaders featured for week 2 of Guardian Games, we have up for grabs available initially, as well as the Rivalry White Sand available this week. So that's the first set of Bright Dust items. Also, this week though, we've got the Give Me a G multiplayer emote, which is 4,250 Bright Dust. Something I'd like to point out real quick, but you see these Winged Victory, as well as the Hawker Shell, they're selling for silver this week, but they are actually listed for Bright Dust during the event, so might just be worth holding on until next weekly reset if you want to save real cash and instead spend Bright Dust. And then of course, if they don't show up, you'll probably still have the option to actually buy them. Otherwise, for Bright Dust this week, we have the Disappointment, a rare emote, which is 400 Bright Dust. A new ship, though, available this time is the Carriol Spectacular, which is 2,000 Bright Dust, so definitely worth checking in and taking a look at that one if you're after new Guardian Games items. Something returning from previous years, though, there is the Pistol Pose Exotic Sparrow for 2,500 Bright Dust, and then we've got the Half Volley Shell Exotic Ghost for 2,850, and the ornament for Heir Apparent, the Triumphant, right there, which will be up for 1,250 Bright Dust. Finally, though, there is also the Elemental Contestant entrance, I had to read that carefully, which is up for 450 Bright Dust this week. And otherwise, for shaders, which will be on the second page, we've got Reef Maid, as well as Kite and Slate, and then up for grabs once again, and the Photo Finish, which isn't that the one that's the RGB shader from previous years? So if you want that one and you missed it, now is the time. All of those are 300 Bright Dust. But finally, there is the Cherry Blossom entrance, as well as the Cyber Class entrance, and the Only the Finest Transmat effects available, which will be 450 Bright Dust. So that is the Eververse inventory. I guess a little bit early, or not early at all, because Weekly Reset has actually happened. It's just that the game update hasn't. So that's why there's a bit of weirdness around the Weekly Reset. Some final things to round up here though, in terms of activities this week. The exotic mission is Operation Seraph Shield, so if you still want any upgrades for Revision 0, if you're missing them, then that might be useful. On top of that though, we have Deepstone Crypt, which can drop the Eyes of Tomorrow, and the Root of Nightmares raid, which will drop Conditional Finality. So both the exotics and the legendary loot pools for the featured activities are completely farmable this week. Another exotic we can hunt down from dungeons would be Ghosts of the Deep, and of course the Navigator drop, so if you need that one, there are a few useful activities featured this reset. The final mention though is for Lost Sectors this week. So for today, we have Vel's Labyrinth in the Cosmodrome featured, then it'll be Exodus Garden 2A in the Cosmodrome for the 19th of March. Following that, we'll get Dreaming City with Aphelion's Rest on the 20th of March, and Chamber of Starlight for the 21st. Then for the 22nd, it'll be Hydroponics Delta on Neomuna, followed by Gilded Precept on the 23rd, and finally, Thrilladrome should be featured on March 24th. Then of course we'll be back for another weekly reset. So for this week guys, that is everything we have to round up. As always, I hope you found the video useful. Let us know as well what you're excited to jump in and do this week in the game. Again, get subscribed to the channel if you are new around here. Around 60% of all of the viewers haven't yet done that, so if you feel like helping us out, it really does make a big difference with the algorithm. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in today, and I will catch you guys very soon.